Item number 13 we've done. So we're on item number 14. Right. One that I think we all have to declare an interest in this one, but no, apart from Richard. Okay. Wayne's happy to move. Richard's happy to second.
We're
But
all
let's
aging.
Shall we just give our staff a chance to make any comments? Just make sure we're all clear on the process. Before I go to Councillor Casey, anything we need to add?
We're happy to take it as read if there's, if you don't want us to sort of highlight some of the key things. We did involve elected members in this process and invited feedback. We had some local boards who did contribute to that. We've incorporated that feedback in the submission. Generally, we're very supportive of what's the government's proposing. We suggested a few recommendations for how they could strengthen it, but and those are all noted.
Great. Okay, Councillor Casey.
Just a couple of comments, and this one's often overlooked, but I really like it if we can put that we actually have 1,500 pensioner units of housing for older people, and it's not in the report. And we also got a change to Panuku to increase the amount of housing for older people, acknowledging the waiting list. And I think when you set the context, that's a key fact. It's a fact. So I wouldn't mind. We can still tootle with it. Eh?
Yes, we certainly can. But generally, the focus of the submission is what we're telling government about what we're wanting, so rather than the focus on what Auckland Council's doing.
No, I understand, but you set the context by putting some key indicators at the beginning, and I think that's one of our keys that we often forget.
We can look at that. Yes.
I had just another wee couple of things. Hang on.
So we could probably strengthen 5. I think we talk in the first bullet point about housing choices and all the rest of it. Yeah.
And the other one was we do this as an organisation, but I would really encourage the government to do it too, and that's to encourage positive images of active ageing and positive images of older people and diverse images of older people and good language around older people. And we haven't spelled it out, and I think we could actually put in it would be another one under supporting and acknowledging diversity. That supports it by saying the right things and by showing willing in terms of our imagery. That would be really good. And I think that was all. Everything else is just hunky-dory. Thank you very much. Oh no, one more thing, sorry. Another thing we do as a council is we talk about providing environments so that older people can participate. One way that we do that as a council is by holding events and providing programmes and recreation opportunities. And I think again we can just no, I think that's quite important. That's one of the things we do, and we have more of, and it's in that section. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's all good. It's all good. It's all just bolstering your submission.
Thank you, Councillor. We're just a little bit distracted because apparently we are at that magic time where we do have to move an extension. So I'll move an extension of time to, well, just a completion of the meeting, which I'm aiming for it to be about 4:15. Yes.
I don't know about your quorum, but I've got Domain Committee. No, what have we got? Ngāti Whātua. We've got Ngāti Whātua Domain. What have we got? A Raka Reserves at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we are. Well, at 4, if we just keep going, we can finish this. Yep, exactly. No, we'll just trot through. Let's move it till 4 o'clock. And get a wiggle on. Let's only ask questions that are necessary, and some stuff isn't. Councillor Stewart.
Just thank you. Just on the housing for the elderly, I know in Howick there is the Westminster flats that I'm sure you're aware of, that there was an agreement with the Howick Lions actually built them and donated them to the Howick Borough Council, and it was for elderly people that so they were affordable houses for people to buy into, and then they'd sell it back for around about the same price when I guess they move on. But apparently at least half of the flats at the moment are vacant, and a lot of the residents are starting to get a little bit concerned because the flats aren't really being looked after, and they're wondering, is there a bigger plan? And I'm just wondering if there is a bigger plan, because the Howick Lions had gifted them to the Howick Borough, if Auckland Council's decided to do something different to what the Howick Lines first, yeah, so if you could.
Yeah, I think Councillor Stewart, we might need to be talking, we're not quite talking to the right people. So this is a submission that we're making on government policy. So we haven't actually got the people here who can answer the
Right.
questions that
maybe
you're
we could note that
asking.
anyway.
So maybe we could note that and get someone who can help answer you.
We'll get someone to get back to you about that. That is an operational matter that we
Yeah.
don't have information on, but
Yeah.
we note the question.
Yeah, okay, no, we can join you with the right person. Councillor Walker.
Yeah, entirely supportive of what's happening here. I just make an observation, and that might be there may be some examples that we could point to in the region to bring something to the attention of the government. And I'm very mindful that at Councillor Casey's wonderful committee, we had a presentation by an Auckland University group about the Hobsonville Land Co. or Housing Land and People, whatever they are, and their developments, and pointing out that in a number of instances, their developments are not universal friendly, which came as a bit of a shock because it's held up as being, something quite outstanding, but the reality is not always the case, and that is a government-sanctioned development. So there may be a few examples that we just want to put in to populate our submission so that the government's got a better understanding of our concern.
Thank you. Through the chair, we do recognise and actually make a point about strengthening that whole sort of universal design, that the government strategy needs to do that, and potentially one of the ways they can do that is by strengthening the legislation underpinning that. So we'll have a think about whether we can give an example. Again, I guess the focus of this is very much about, in a way, congratulating the government on taking such a proactive stance and having a strategy in relation to this. So we want to be mindful of also being generous around that. But we'll have a look about whether we can, where we could slot in an example if that's going to illuminate the issue around the importance of universal design.
Yeah, no, good point, councillor, thank you. Okay, no other questions or comments? It's been moved by councillor Walker, seconded by councillor Hills. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Trotting along, item 15. Would you like to move that, councillor Philippaina? Thank you. Seconded. I'm sure the mayor would like to second this critical item. Yes, he's read them all. I'll put that. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. And councillor Simpson has moved the exclusion. Oh, what? Oh, right. Right. So item 16, there are none. Right, and we've got exclusion of the public. Moved councillor Simpson, seconded Member Blair. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried.